think he should retire versus should he retire are two different things, right? For me, I look at Tom Brady and I say, wow, first in passing yards, the most yards he's thrown for in his career ever this season. First in passing TDs. The second, he's only done it one other time has he outdone himself in terms of throwing touchdown passes this season. He is still achieving at such a high level that part of me is like, why would you retire now? Keep going, Tom. Keep in mind, we're in the same draft. It used to be my draft. Today, it's Tom Brady's draft, right? I went number 2 in that draft, but at some point, Tom Brady was drafted. It's his draft. So I'm a major fan of Tom Brady, and he actually represents the last person from our litter. My litter mate is still in the league being the GOAT of GOATs. So personally and selfishly, I wouldn't want him to retire this way. I wouldn't want him to go out this way. But I got to tell you, listening to what he said and how he stated it, guys, it sounds as though someone who has accepted the fact that he's done all that he can do and is looking to be all he can be as a father and a husband. And if that is his reasoning for wanting to walk away from the game, then God bless him and good luck on that. Total support and total admiration and respect for that. Because what better reason to walk away from what you're doing in life than to take care of your family? So do I want him to retire? Absolutely not. Should he retire? That's a decision that Tom Brady has to make.
Well, LaVar, as you said, look, forget having nothing left to prove. He's really got nothing left to do on the football field. If he wins the Super Bowl next year, 8 rings, it's awesome. He'll get praised and all that, but his legacy can't go any higher. The level of respect for him can't go any higher. So that he can't prove anything on the football field anymore. However, he still, I believe, clearly has the competitive juices and he wants to play football. And look, he talked about his family. But let's be honest, he's talked about his family in the past in relation to how long he's going to play, and he's still here. So what I think, Nick, is going to come down to is what does Tampa Bay look like next year? Because their cap situation isn't great, and they got a lot of free agents. Ndamukong Suh could be gone. Chris Godwin, Gio Bernard, Leonard Fournette, Ronald Jones, Gronkowski, like Ryan Jensen. I could go on and on. And Tom Brady, as much as he wants to play, I don't think he wants to go back to 2019 in New England where he knows I don't have the weapons to win a Super Bowl. He wants weapons on offense and a great defense, so he's got to believe he can win the Super Bowl. So I think he's going to sit back and watch and see what Tampa Bay does and get involved and try to tell them we got to build this team so we can win. And if they do, I think he'll be back, Nick. If they don't, I think he'll be gone. I think he'll probably retire.
Respectfully, Brew, aside from Gronk, because they seem, they have such a close relationship and they seem linked, I don't think Tampa Bay and their offseason has much of anything to do with this. I think right now it is very clear Tom Brady, the man, wants to keep playing football, and Tom Brady, the husband and father, feels pressured not to play football. And I feel badly for him, Wilds, if I'm being totally honest. I know people might find that odd. Tom Brady's 44 years old. That is not retirement age in any universe except for the sports universe, where it's older than retirement age. He loves doing what he's doing. He cares about what he's doing, so much so he's mother bleeping referees in the middle of early stages of a game. The fire still burns. He has always said, I want to play till I'm 45. And now he feels like, I'll be letting my kids down. I'll be letting my wife down. Listen, I obviously can't speak to those relationships. What I can speak to is, I think what your wife and kids, what my wife and kids, what our wife and kids, I would hope what they want is for you to be happy. And for Tom Brady, Wildes has accomplished every goal he has ever set out to accomplish. He has one more. I want to play till I'm 45. He's 1 year away, coming off statistically one of his best years ever. To stop now because for 7 months of next year, you're not going to be as present as a father or a husband. Maybe it makes me a bad dad or a bad husband. I would absolutely not do it. You're going to get the next 50 years out of me, and you already get 5 months a year. I'm going to say one other part of this that I think is reasonable. That Tom Brady has a responsibility to himself that is greater than you have to yourself or I have to myself. He's the greatest to ever do something. What's the list of human beings alive that can say that? So if he wants to keep doing that longer, that is different than, my dad is 8th in command at a law firm and works 80 hours a week. And I wish, okay, maybe you should stop. Tom Brady is not regular. He owes his own exceptionalness, if you will, every last drop that he has to give it. And I hope he's allowed to. And I know people think I'm a Brady hater or whatever. I really hope he's allowed to.
No, that's fair. I think that's a fair statement. The one thing that I took away from this, LaVar, is I question, and Broussard, you said this earlier, the fire still burns. I'm not sure that's 100% true because I think that we have a long track record of Tom Brady being motivated by doubters, whether it was not being, being a backup in Michigan, being the 199th pick, having a team made by Bill Belichick that didn't prioritize the quarterback, prioritize defense, and everybody do your job, but you're not the star, you're a cog in the system. Then you drafted Jimmy G. You know what? I'm already thinking about moving on. Then it's the whole Julian Edelman, you're too old, yelling on the sidelines. That seemed to fire him up. Then he went to Tampa Bay and had to prove Belichick wrong. Who's doubting Tom Brady now? I don't think anybody. I think if people really wanted Tom Brady, if you love Tom Brady, the best thing you can do is go on social media and say Tom Brady is washed. Just like LeBron has taken some motivation from the washed king thing. I think that Tom Brady, the lack of doubters, the fact that he has erased all the doubts, in the process has erased a little bit of motivation, and that's what I hear creeping through that interview.
Tom Brady is a defensive stance away from us not even having this conversation. Being down as much as he was, they are a defensive stance away from him possibly not even having this conversation. And so for me, when I look at it, this has absolutely very little to do with football. And for what it's worth, I got to push back on you on this one, Nick. The one thing that you do not get to redeem, you do not get to purchase more of, it's time. That is the greatest asset that you do not get back. Once it's gone, it's gone. And if he feels as though spending these years, whether it be 1 year removed from making it to, I wanted to play football until I was 44, right? I didn't make 30 playing football. And you know what? Sometimes you got to be okay with coming up short on what a goal may be. And if 1 year removed from making your goal of 45 playing the game means an extra time going to a soccer game, going to a graduation party, a birthday party, doing a Christmas or, God forbid, a Thanksgiving with your kids and your wife, nah, bruh. Nah, I'm not going to sit there and say my happiness is worth that and it's worth more than that. I'm going to be right there with my Uggs on, with my Ugg deal, with my kids, chilling out, eating a turkey leg, drinking a beer, getting chubby as I want to get, or doing it the TV way if I want to do it. But I'm going to do it with my family because at this point, my family means way more than any snap I will ever take at this point in time.
Yeah, but that's always true, right? Your family's always the most important thing.
I don't think so.
And so
I don't think so. I don't think so.
Like,
we put everything else as a line item. When we play this game, we put everything else as a line item since college. Think about it. Christmas time, we're preparing for bowl games. We're not preparing for Christmas with our families. It's a line item. If it's Thanksgiving, if anything that you have to do, if it's a kid's birthday, heck, we have conversations about guys missing the birth or wondering if they can make it to the birth of their kids because of a game. A game. We do not put our families ahead of our profession as pro athletes. And if he's getting to the point of where he sees he's losing that time with his kids, I'll say this real quick. I almost came to tears the other day looking at one of my daughters because she transformed overnight. I'm looking at my son and he's transformed overnight. He went from being this little dude to now he's just as big as I am. And I almost cried, Nick. Like, I literally had to walk away with my eyes teared up because they aren't kids anymore. They aren't my babies anymore. And once you start looking at things through the scope of, man, I don't get that time back. They're getting older now. I don't get that back. That outweighs, it sounds like that's starting to outweigh everything else for Tom Brady.
Oh, LaVar, honestly, I'm so sad right now, and I feel like I need to go pull my kids out of school and just look at them. I'm not joking. LaVar is too emotional. Man. Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get the latest from the show. Also, be sure to check out more of the best clips from First Things First, or go watch a few segments from our other shows on FS1.